Okay, so this is the entrance hall as you come in the house. I'm having to record this with a fisheye lens, otherwise you won't be able to see hardly anything. So as you come in, there's a small cloakroom in here. Funny enough, the hot tap still doesn't work. Quite dated, quite 90s as you can see. Then you have on your right the, I suppose, dining room, it's classed as, which is a sort of medium-sized room. It's the first of the sort of beams in the middle of the rooms that you'll see, which are immovable. That is the second leak which we had, which still can't be closed because there's a danger of water coming through it still. But that is this room. Then on the other side is, you can notice that the doors are quite narrow. They're Euro sized doors, so they're a lot narrower than standard doors in the UK. And so this is the only room we've decorated so far, which is the main living room, where I've had the beams sandblasted to try and make them less ugly. So this is the sort of living room slash, they call it a study, but it's just a part of the room over there. Back into the hallway, and we have the kitchen, which again has this post bang in the middle of the room. Apart from that, it's relatively modern. It was done in 2011, so it's the only room that was kind of modern, and there are nice bifold doors to the outside. So going upstairs, there's a lot of this orange pine cladding everywhere. And going upstairs is a rather narrow landing. That's why I'm having to do this with a fisheye lens, because otherwise I wouldn't be able to get anything in. The master bedroom is the only bedroom which is a decent size, really, because it's a 1.5 story house. You lose an awful lot of headroom, but the main problem with this room is that the post is the one place where you would want the bed to be. We had it there initially, but you had to have it quite off centre because of where the post is, and even then I managed to walk into it several times. So the only other place we've been able to put it is here, which is quite difficult to get in because this is my head height here, so you have to sort of cower down to get in there. Again, the post is in a pretty stupid position. In here is what they call a walk-in wardrobe, but it's just a cupboard. You can't really walk into it. So there's a light that automatically comes on, and you'll see, because the post here is what makes it quite tricky to access. It's very difficult to squeeze around in there. It's a sort of medium-sized cupboard, but the post is what makes it a lot less usable than you'd think. Going back around here this is the ensuite bathroom, which is an okay size for an ensuite, but it's very dated. It's never been redone since the house was built in 1998, so it's very dated and creaky. As you can see, it's just about holding together for now. But yeah, it's all starting to fall apart. This is actually better than when we bought it. It was very, very mouldy when we bought it, but unfortunately, because all this silicone which is holding this glass in has deteriorated, it's very difficult to clean it properly. But aside from that, it's not a bad size for an ensuite, but it's certainly very dated and quite cheaply done. This is like laminate kitchen worktop and a cheap sink in there, and it's got again this tongue and groove orange cladding under there, which is very dated, and sort of dated toilet, dated tiles. And if you can see, these are sort of raised pattern tiles everywhere. Yes, so coming back out through the master bedrooms into, this is what we class as bedroom 4 because it's by far the smallest. As you can see, this is with the fisheye. It's like a 10mm lens on there. Even if I brought it down to a standard wide angle, you can just about get through the door. There's a small double in here at the moment, but it's wall to wall. It just about fits in, and you've only got say 3 foot, maybe 3.5 foot of full headroom, 2.3 meters in the room before the beam, after which it slopes, and there's the small dormer there. This is just a small cupboard. There was a door on there, but we couldn't open it, having a bed in and open it, so we took the door off. But aside from that, it's a very small room. Even with a single bed would be very small, but we've just about crammed this bed into it. But like I say, there's not much room for anything else. You can just about shut the door, which is much narrower than standard door, and have it open. Next to that is the airing cupboard, which is where most of the problems are. And this is, well, when we looked round the house, this was full with towels and sheets rolled up, so you couldn't see anything in there. So we just use it as a messy cupboard. Going along, you have, which is possibly the worst room of the house, and one of the reasons, the most cited reason for people not wanting to buy the house, is a very small family bathroom. Very small, very dated, and the biggest problem with it is this post, which is slap bang in the middle of it. So my children often walk into it during the middle of the night, because they'll come through the door bleary-eyed and walk straight into this post, which is a shame, because it would be quite a nice view from outside of the garden and trees, but all you really see is this post in front of you. Anyway, moving on, you have the bath there, which this is all original from when the house was built 20 odd years ago, 22 years ago. You've got the old timber cladding, lino floor. This toilet we had to replace as the other one didn't flush at all, so that's why the lino is like that around, cut out to the original one. And this is more cladding, which I'm not sure why they put that there. I think the reason why that boxing is there is because there wasn't enough clearance for someone to sit down, or at least stand up from the toilet, so it had to be brought out slightly. You've got one of these shell sinks, which kind of matches the bath. Very, very dated, and that's about it really. Very similar tiles, just a different colour to the ensuite, with this sort of lovely raised fake marble effect. But yeah, like I say, the main issue with this room that everyone had was that post there, which is structural and can't be removed apparently. Moving on to bedroom number 2. This is the second largest room, but we could just about fit a single bed in it. That's a normal size single bed. This is my eldest 10-year-old son's room. It is, from the dimensions given, it seems like a relatively well-sized room. However, there's not a lot of headroom, because again, after say 3.5 feet, it slopes down and you just have this dormer, so there's not a lot of usable head height here. You've got the post there, which again is somewhere where my son whacks his head often when he's getting out of bed, but that's, you know, we bought the house, so that's our problem. And the window there, the beam carries on, and there's a small cupboard here, but I think when they did the dimensions they were very generous as to the size of the room, because there are small bits where it goes out. And then moving on to what would be bedroom number 3, I guess, which is the second smallest room. And again, this is quite a dark room, that's why I've got all the lights on, because it's south is that way, so that's north facing window. Again, it's a lot of it's taken up with, like, there's a cupboard there because that conceals a post which is there. You've got a little bit more room. It's another standard single bed. You've got a little bit more room around it, but you'd be hard pushed to fit a double bed in there. But it's not a bad room, it's just very small and there's not a lot of room in there. So that's all of the upstairs.